What's happening, guys? Back at you with another video. So in this video, we're going to be talking about Creed 3. I was able to watch it early, and going to be basically giving my thoughts on it, giving my review on it in this video. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so we have Creed 3, the third installment to the Creed franchise, and continuing on with the Rocky franchise. Also, definitely was one to check out. I gotta say, definitely was one to check out. I was definitely excited for this movie. It was one of my most anticipated movies of the year. Um, let's go ahead and get into talking about this movie to where we get kind of the plot, kind of story plots I wanted to talk about. So we basically get Adonis Creed in this movie where he's basically retiring or retired and basically running the gym and basically training the next generation of boxers. And that's kind of where he's at in his life right now. This is taking place many years after the second movie. His daughter's a little bit older now, and just at this point in his life, we see what he's like at this point in his life, and being retired and training the next boxers at the gym he's running and all that. And then come along, we get an old friend that comes out of jail. He looks up Adonis and just saying how he's out of jail and all that stuff. He wants a chance to prove himself that he's still a great boxer and all that. And basically, Adonis Creed tries to help him out. Some stuff takes a forward turn in this movie, and basically towards the end, there's bad blood and all that, and then we have to get a big old fight to basically get to that point. It gets to that point. So that's some of the the story plots and all that stuff in this movie. With this being the actual directorial debut of Michael B. Jordan, I gotta say he did a solid movie with his directorial debut. This is definitely a solid movie, and just in general, a solid movie for the Creed franchise, the Rocky franchise, and as a whole, this is definitely a solid addition to the whole thing as a franchise. I highly enjoyed this movie. I really think it's a great movie. Definitely a great movie. The way he was able to direct this movie and just put his own style on it, he definitely makes some stylistic choices, especially when it comes to like the fights. He has said before that he was definitely taking some anime inspiration into the fight choreography and all that, and he's a big anime fan himself, so that's where he got his inspiration for some of the fights, the way the fights played out and some of the fight choreography. He was definitely saying how it was anime inspired, and you definitely see that in the movie when you're watching the movie, and you see that in the fights. There's a couple fights in this movie, so you definitely see that in a way how he was able to get inspiration from anime, and definitely looks that way, like it was kind of plucked from an anime show almost. Now, if you're not an anime fan, definitely do not lower your expectations just because it is anime inspired. Definitely give it a chance. It's definitely a stylistic choice that he made, but give it a chance. Just watch it and you know form your own opinions on it. But I gotta say, I like the stylistic choice that he made. I think it was brought something new and fresh to the franchise when it comes to the fights and all that. Seeing the way that the fights were choreographed and the way we see it on the screen, to where we get some slow motion shots, eye view shots, and things like that going on. But y'all definitely see that. If y'all see the film, y'all definitely see the difference and some of the stylistic choices that Michael B. Jordan made with these fights. Like I said, this movie does have a lot of heart to it. At the core of this movie is definitely a personal story, and some of the core things at this movie is definitely a family stuff. We see a lot of heart with the character of Adonis with his family, especially when it comes to like his daughter and all that. I definitely like the scenes between Michael B. Jordan and the actress that played his daughter. Definitely some heartfelt moments there, and I just like how you really feel that, like there are heartfelt moments, and you really feel that coming forward and between with scenes between them. So I really like that, those moments he had with his daughter, and then just family moments all in general. And on the other side, we get Jonathan Majors' character, who comes in, and it's a blast from the past kind of thing. He's out of jail. He asks Adonis Creed, to give him a chance. He just wants a chance to prove himself as a boxer and all that stuff. So Adonis Creed helps him out, gives him a chance and all that stuff. But definitely does take a turn in this movie to where it's like you see, like, he really becomes the antagonist and a rival in this movie. And I gotta say, Jonathan Majors plays a phenomenal performance in this movie. Really is a standout in this movie with his performance as Dame Anderson, and it really goes to prove like just the way that he works and he acts over the past couple years. He just really shot up, for me at least. Just proving himself as an actor and all that over the past couple years, showing us what he could do with his acting abilities and all that. And he's definitely a standout in this movie. And the way the story is playing out, it just really makes you kind of feel and kind of see why he's like see kind of see why the way he is in the movie, and it really gets into that personal stuff. Like this is definitely, I'll probably say this was definitely one of the most personal stories out of all the Creed and Rocky movies. This one is probably the most personal when it comes down to it. You see some of the past events that happened to that lead up to this, and you see how Adonis Creed and Jonathan Majors' character were basically like brothers, and you just see how, stuff that goes down in the past. You see how he, when he comes back, and how he is when he comes back, and it takes a turn and all that stuff, and it leads up to the big fight at the end. So you see all that, and it's definitely, I think it's definitely executed pretty well. It's not perfect or anything like that, but it's definitely executed pretty well when it comes to that. You can definitely feel the tension between the two characters, and you feel the personal story behind it, and you feel how it is and all that stuff. And then when it comes to the final fight, you really feel it too. And when it comes to when it comes to the final fight, definitely stylistic choice on what Michael B. Jordan was able to do. It's definitely a metaphoric kind of fight that they go through. Whether or not people like it, I can see how some people would definitely like this one, and then I can see how some people may not like the final fight just because of how metaphorical it is and how it's personal. It's on a personal level too. So it'll just depend on whether or not how you like the fights and all that stuff. But nonetheless, I enjoyed the last final fight. I enjoyed most of the fights in this one. Like I said, it's definitely anime inspired. You could definitely see that with Michael Jordan's directing and how he was able to have the anime inspired by those fights. Getting into some other stuff. Definitely was. Let's get into the Rocky stuff real quick. Let's talk about Rocky. So, for those of y'all that may not know, probably it's pretty big that Rocky is not going to be in this movie. He's not in this movie. I would say though, given this story that they went with this movie and how personal it is, but given the story how it plays out, I would say it's a big step down to not have him in there. I just think for the story they're telling, he wasn't necessarily needed. I think he could have been used as a support or that advice kind of thing going on, maybe in a couple parts here and there. But overall, for the story, I don't think he was deeply. It's not like a step down that he's not in the movie. I think just given this story, it was definitely a personal story, and it was the way the story plays out and the way the story is. It's not a big, huge loss that he's not in the movie, but I think it's definitely could have been good to have a little bit, couple scenes in there with him where he's kind of the support, kind of giving advice and stuff like that. I could kind of see that a little bit. But like I said, it's definitely not a huge loss not having him in here. The way the story plays out, and the way the movie is, it's not a huge loss that Rocky is not in here, in this movie. Yeah, this is definitely like I said before, this is definitely a solid movie when it comes to the Creed franchise. Definitely a solid addition to the Creed and Rocky franchise, the Rocky and Creed movies. Definitely a solid addition. I think as a directorial debut, Michael B. Jordan does a very good job on his directorial debut with this movie. Definitely a solid movie. It's not perfect, but it's definitely a solid movie that I enjoyed. I really liked a lot of things they were able to do in this movie. Really enjoyed it. Definitely going to be doing a ranking on these movies. So I'm going to be going through that and seeing how the ranking is going to be. This one is definitely going to be a good one though for the future and all that. I definitely enjoyed this one. I definitely like a lot of things they did in this movie and some of the things they were kind of doing a little bit new in this movie. So yeah, definitely a solid addition to the Rocky and Creed franchise. I enjoyed this movie. Hopefully y'all will too. Definitely go check it out. I do recommend going to check it out. So hopefully y'all enjoy it also. But that's going to do it all for this video. Tell me down in the comments below if you've seen this movie yet and what did you think about it. But that would do it all for this video. Hope y'all all enjoyed it. Remember, if you want to be a part of Team Legendary, all you gotta do is subscribe and turn notifications on so you know when I post another video. Hope you all have an awesome day. And remember, be legendary.